Good morning, friends. Greetings and welcome to The Bright Side, your nutritional program dedicated to the understanding of the vast world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. I'm your host, Pharmacist Ben, nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. I use nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and sometimes deadly medical procedures. If you suspect that there are natural nutritional roads to your health and vitality and well-being and to addressing your health challenges, whatever they may be, but you don't know where to begin, you have come to the right place. As you listen to The Bright Side every day, you are more and more in control of your body. You are more and more knowledgeable, and you know you can overcome any health challenge. That is why we are here every day on The Bright Side, helping clear up the sometimes confusing world of nutrition and nutritional supplementation. Over the last 32 years of practicing pharmacy, I have seen drug-free recoveries from diabetes, hypertension, obesity, skin diseases like psoriasis, eczema, rosacea, acne, digestive ailments, autoimmune issues of all kinds, recoveries that by the standards of modern medicine can only be called a miracle, but what is in the world of the body, what is in the world of biology, standard operating procedure. Because the human biological system is a healing system, it's a regenerating system, it is designed divinely to heal and renew itself on a moment-to-moment basis. And while some folks may call that healing, renewing, regenerating system a miracle, it really is just the way the body works. If you have questions about health, nutrition, prescription drugs, if you want to wean yourself off your meds and get on a good nutritional supplement program, we are here for you. We welcome your phone calls on The Bright Side. 844-236-6010 is our number, 844-236-6010. If you have questions about our Truth Treatment products or skin health questions, ingredient questions, if you have a comment or success story you'd like to share, 844-236-6010 is our number on The Bright Side. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised or recommended on The Bright Side, go to brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. That's brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com, or you can call the Bright Side Ben phone team at 866-735-2470, 866-735-2470. They can give you information about the longevity business. They can help you out with longevity products as well. 866-735-2470 is the phone number for the Bright Side Ben team. All right, welcome back to The Bright Side, friends. We are talking detox, liver detox, more than liver detox, really, because this element glucuronate, which is responsible for glucuronidation, one of the primary ways the body cleans itself out, is not just a liver detox element, it's also involved in intestinal health. Glucuronidation is basically the body sticking a little piece of something, a little, remember, chemistry is all about tinker toys. And in this detoxification process, the body just sticks a little tinker toy element, it's called the glucuronate, on a poison tinker toy, and that basically deactivates it. That's how cigarette smoke, alcohol, drugs are deactivated. Likewise, estrogen is deactivated this way. And this glucuronidation mechanism not only deactivates poisons, but it facilitates their removal from the body via the bile. So glucuronidation first makes poisons more bile-ready, and then it plays a role in the elimination of these substances through the bile. Bile is, at least some of the bile is eliminated through the bowels when you have bowel movements, and that's how you're supposed to clean yourself out, through this glucuronidation process, and then the bile process, and then the bowel movements. That's how we detoxify ourselves. The body is a detoxifying system. It doesn't need help to detoxify. It needs raw materials. It needs to have the building blocks, but it doesn't need any special detox formulas. So glucuronidation is not just a liver chemical, and detoxification is not just a liver phenomena. It also occurs in the intestine. Intestinal cells are doing the same kind of work or similar work to liver cells. And that means if you have any intestinal issue, you got irritable bowel syndrome, ulcerative colitis, Crohn's disease, celiac disease, it's very likely that you are going to be accumulating toxicity as well as dealing with bile issues. It also means that when the intestine is working correctly, conversely, you'll be limiting the liver's exposure to toxins, and that includes prescription drugs. That means you got to work on the intestine as well as working on the liver if you're interested in good detoxification. I always say this a lot, but it's worth repeating. Prescription drugs represent an important load on the liver. They represent an important source of toxicity, life-shortening toxicity, disease-inducing toxicity. Prescription drugs that you get from your doctor, so-called medicine that is supposed to make you better, that is supposed to help you by virtue of the fact that it puts a load on the liver, by virtue of the fact that it puts a load on the intestine. Yes, now we know because detoxification occurs in the intestine too. The intestine is detoxifying your drugs. Intestinal detoxification is an important source of detox of hormones, of hormone-like drugs. I was just reading something about that actually on a drug that they give you for so-called a selective estrogen receptor modulator, not a straight hormone, but kind of supposedly a more gentle hormone. That's detoxified by the intestine. So if you got any kind of intestinal health problems, toxicity is going to build up. Aside from the fact that you're going to probably be dealing with leaky gut, and now you have more toxicity. And because bile is also because bile also plays a role in the absorption of fatty vitamins, vitamins D and A especially, which are important for intestinal health. You can see how this whole thing can tumble out of control once you overload the bile system and you have to deal with toxicity, especially prescription drug toxicity. EFA deficiencies, vitamin A deficiencies, vitamin D deficiencies. This is all following taking prescription drugs by virtue of the fact that it puts a load on the intestine and on the bile system. Mineral deficiency, selenium, zinc. So you're talking toxicity, you're talking deficiency in response to digestive impairment, in response to prescription drugs, as well as other toxins. Prescription drugs aren't the only toxin that's going to cause this problem, but prescription drugs seem to me to be the most egregious because we take them to get better, supposedly, or we take them to prevent disease. And of course, toxic estrogen, in addition to drugs. Antibiotics, by the way, are especially prone towards this problem. If you're taking antibiotics, sometimes we think, oh, well, we're just taking an antibiotic for 10 days or 2 weeks. Well, if you're smoking and you're taking antibiotics, or if you're drinking alcohol and you're taking antibiotics, or if you've got an estrogen problem and you're taking antibiotics, you can see this thing can become a mess. And I didn't even talk about killing off the good bacteria. Bottom line is by supporting the elimination of toxic sludgy bile, by supporting intestinal health, by supporting glucuronidation, you're going to be adding years to your life. You're going to be supporting the body's ability to clear things out. You're going to be shortening, you're going to be increasing your longevity, and you're going to be eliminating things like gallstones. Defects in glucuronidation can cause the accumulation of bile pigment and can cause jaundice. This is one way that you can tell that you're becoming liver toxic, or you're not detoxifying appropriately, or you have deficiencies in the raw materials like glucuronate that are important for detoxification. This is not, this yellowing, this jaundice is not all that uncommon. There's actually a condition called Gilbert's syndrome, which affects over 5 to 7% of the population. And just because you're not diagnosed with Gilbert's syndrome doesn't mean you don't have at least a mild case of it. Gilbert's syndrome is a bile condition secondary to liver problems. Doctors will tell you it's nothing to worry about. It's definitely something to think about. I don't know about worry, but it's definitely something to think about. If you got bile accumulation to the point where it's showing up in your eyes and on your skin, that's a sign that you're not clearing your bile, and that is definitely a big problem. According to the Journal of Gastroenterology, this problem can be particularly important if you're taking Tylenol. Gilbert's syndrome patients should not be taking Tylenol. But again, you don't know if you have full-blown Gilbert's syndrome. You might just have mild bile impairment. If you have any kind of jaundice, that is a bad sign. If you have any kind of yellowing of the skin, that is a bad sign. The yellowing is actually caused by something called bilirubin. You probably heard of bilirubin if you've ever had a liver panel. They'll tell you if your bilirubin is elevated. If you're drinking a lot of alcohol, you could have elevated bilirubin. If you have intestinal problems, you could have elevated bilirubin. You have gallbladder problems. Bilirubin levels are a standard way that the doctor will test for liver impairment. We'll finish up when we come back from our break. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to the Bright Side. We'll be back right after this. Okay, we are back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben, 844-236-6010. It's our number. Got lines open for you, 844-236-6010. We're talking about the liver and bile and the intestinal system. Bilirubin is one of the ways doctors measure how healthy we are. Liver panel tests, you'll get the bilirubin measurements, and elevations in bilirubin are typically indicative of some kind of liver health issue. Likewise with jaundice or yellowing of the eyes. In Chinese medicine, they'll always look at the eyes. Yellowing of the eyes is a classic sign of liver problems in Chinese medicine, as you now understand why. Likewise in iridology. And in Chinese medicine, the health of the eyes is directly related to the liver system, and in fact, this is how liver issues are diagnosed in Chinese medicine. Iridologists will look for yellow tint in the white of the eye, the normally white part of the eye, when looking for liver health issues. If you look in the mirror and you see your eyes are becoming even slightly yellow, you know you've got some kind of liver problem. And bilirubin, by the way, is bile pigment, the stuff that they look at when you have a liver issue, is not really only a waste product. It's not like it's a toxin. It does have, it is a waste product in a certain way, but it's actually an antioxidant. It's actually a protective molecule. It's an anti-inflammatory molecule. It's a vasodilating molecule. It's a heart health molecule. It's an anti-cancer molecule. So bilirubin is very important stuff. In fact, these days, hip doctors, cutting-edge doctors, understand that there is a very, very important relationship between bile and the heart, bile and cardiovascular health issues. I've always said that heart disease, which is the leading killer, affects hundreds of thousands, probably over 1 million people are somehow affected by heart disease on some level or another. I think it kills about 700,000 people, or some crazy amount of people every year, leading cause of death in this country and around the world. In many ways, it's a digestive problem and a bile problem and a toxicity problem. I've always said that heart disease is not primary. It is a secondary health challenge. You cannot deal with heart disease by working with the heart. That's kind of a principle, by the way, in alternative healing, I guess you'd say. I don't like that term, but non-medical healing. And that is the idea that where a problem appears is usually not where the problem begins. Now, I'm not talking about trauma. Obviously, if you break something, that's different. But in terms of chronic long-term disease, where a problem shows up is usually not where the problem begins. So you don't work on heart disease by working on the heart. You don't work on the thyroid disease by working on the thyroid. You go downstream or upstream. You go backwards. You go from the leaf to the trunk to the root. If you have heart disease, think about bile. Think about the liver. Think about the digestive system. And if you think that this is just some kind of alternative medicine mumbo-jumbo, just think about bilirubin and think about bile. Bilirubin is a classic, underappreciated cardioprotective substance. If your bile system is not working correctly, or if your bile is toxic and sludgy and not moving as it should, this is going to end up compromising the cardiovascular system. And you can take all the statin drugs you want. Oh, yeah, statin drugs are processed by the liver. So significantly, they don't do it anymore, but they used to tell you had to have liver tested when you took your statin drugs. Now, you may not have blatant liver damage from taking statin drugs, but it's certainly not going to help. That's some of the dumbest medicine is the idea that you should take a statin drug preventatively. It's just dumb in general. But the idea that you're going to take a statin drug or any prescription drug preventatively is just bad science. And it's certainly nothing that a healthcare professional who's sworn to do no harm should ever suggest. If you are doing all of these things, if you are on statin drugs, if you do have bile problems, you do have bilirubin issues, upregulate glucuronidation. Support glucuronidation. You can't take glucuronidate, but you can support glucuronidation with calcium D-glucarate, with plants and phytonutrients. Green tea is phenomenal for supporting glucuronidation. Dandelion, rosemary. These are herbs that are available at Whole Foods or on the internet. You can make your own dandelion tea. You can make your own rosemary tea. Get some rosemary, get some dandelion, get some green tea, and just make a nice morning beverage every day. Throw in some burdock root if you want. That's another really neat detoxification plant. Quercetin, which is found in fruits and veggies, onions, garlic, curcumin. Curcumin is one of the great detoxifying substances. Curcumin is found in turmeric. Turmeric is all the rage these days, and for good reason. Turmeric is a source of curcumin, which is a very, very powerful liver detox substance. All your carotenoids, that is the pigments, the reds and the blues and the greens, all the pigments really, not just the reds and the blues and the greens, all pigments are going to be supporting detoxification, phase 2, predominantly phase 2 detoxification. And then there's a really interesting way to get glucuronic acid. You can't really, I was saying, you can't really you can't really take glucuronic acid in supplements. There are no supplements, but there is a drink that has high amounts of glucuronic acid in it, and it's all the rage these days. I started drinking this stuff, right? I actually first heard about this stuff about 25 years ago, and I never really got into drinking it too much, but I'm thinking about it now. I've been reading all kinds of good stuff about it. It's called kombucha. Kombucha tea. I remember when I first heard about kombucha tea, it was in the early 90s. Somebody gave me a little gooey, weird-looking thing, like a mushroom type of substance. He said, "Here, put this in some tea, let it sit there, and then drain it off and drink the tea." And I was like, "What the heck?" And it looked really gross, and it didn't taste so great, but it gave you a little bit of buzz. I thought at the time that the buzz was from alcohol. Some alcohol that was in there, but it doesn't really have alcohol in it, but it has something that we talk about in this program a lot, a short-chain fatty acid, an SCFA, as opposed to a medium-chain fatty acids, these MCTs that we talk about sometimes in the program, as opposed to the long-chain, the ones, dietary ones. It has these short-chain ones that can give you a real buzz. Kombucha tea gives people a buzz. That's why people why it's become such a fad. You catch a little buzz from this stuff. And it's legal. It's actually illegal. It's actually a healthy buzz. It's not like a drug buzz. People throwing kombucha parties where they just drink kombucha instead of drinking alcohol. See people drinking bottles of kombucha wherever I go. It's kind of like an addiction, I suppose, because it makes you feel so good. So what is the secret in this kombucha stuff? Well, guess what? It's the same stuff that's in apple cider vinegar. Secret to kombucha, the power of kombucha, is these short-chain fatty acids, one of which is called acetic acid, which is found in vinegar, in plain old apple cider vinegar. And kombucha's got a few other things in there that have some health benefits. We're going to spend some time talking about kombucha here in our next Bright Side episode. But if you want to acidify the contents of your stomach after you eat food, we always talk about apple cider vinegar with your ultimate enzymes or apple cider vinegar with your meals. You could easily do kombucha in the same fashion. And you'll also get, in addition to those short-chain fatty acids, you will also get glucuronic acid. So kombucha is not just a feel-good substance, but it's also a great detoxification substance because it's a source of glucuronic acid. It's good for your liver. If you're taking prescription drugs, drink some kombucha with it, or drink some kombucha anyway. Tomorrow we'll continue talking about these short-chain fatty acids, and we'll also talk about kombucha a little bit, tell you how to make your own kombucha tea. And we'll continue with detoxification as well on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're coming back with you and your phone calls. 844-236-6010 is our number. We'll be back after this. We're back on the bright side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. 844-236-6010 is our number. That's 844-236-6010. If you have questions about skin health, longevity products, ingredients, formulations, something you may have heard about or read about, or if you have a success story you'd like to share, we especially love hearing those. Or if you just want to contribute to the conversation, 844-236-6010 is our number. If you want to purchase any of the longevity products you hear advertised or recommended on the bright side, go to brightsideben.com. pharmacistben.com or criticalhealthnews.com. And if you'd like to purchase any of our Truth Skin Health products, our Truth Biomimetic Mineral Mist, Truth Retinol 5% Gel, now our new Truth Retinol 1% Gel is available. If you haven't been able to use the 5%, or you want to bump up your dose of retinol between 5% applications, you now have a retinol 1% available to you. Both our retinol products are made with 25% vitamin C, No preservatives, fragrances, fillers, waxes, emulsifiers, silicone oil ever in any of our Truth treatments. And they're all up at truthtreatments.com. Truthtreatments.com. 844-236-6010 is our number, and we have lots of lines open. In fact, nobody's on the phone now, so we'll get to your calls if they come in. Otherwise, I'll just get to reading some interesting stories here. This one's from the Journal of Digestive Disease. Bile acids and insulin resistance. I love this. Implications for treating non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. 1 out of 3 Americans has non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. They have to say non-alcoholic because liver disease used to only be cause at least significant liver disease was basically an alcoholic issue. These days, it's an everybody issue. And given all the things that the liver does for detoxification, for digestion, for processing nutrients, it's understandable that the way we live our lives would put a serious burden on the liver. And indeed, 100 million Americans have non-alcoholic liver disease. Well, it turns out now there is a connection between insulin resistance and the liver. This is how the first point of the triangle of disease becomes the second point of the triangle of disease. If you've ever doubted this model of how the body breaks down, that you'll only hear on this radio program, by the way. Nobody else has ever talked about the triangle of disease. It's something that I saw with my own eyes after watching and listening to the stories of thousands of different people. I noticed that there's these 3 points that underlie all health challenges: the digestive system, the blood sugar system, and the thyroid adrenal complex, or the stress system. Underneath all chronic degenerative diseases, you will find these 3 points. And the first point, the breakdown of the digestive system, begins woefully early, sometimes in the womb, certainly within days or weeks for most of us after we're born. And then it just progresses. And over time, insulin problems, insulin problems and blood sugar problems will inevitably arise. The digestive system processes energy. Glucose and sugar are energy. Now we have a link between bile acids and insulin resistance. All of this plays a major role in the development of blood sugar problems, dysglycemia, and ultimately in the development of long-term chronic degenerative disease. It's from the Journal of Digestive Disease. Quote, conclusion here: a molecular basis has been provided for a link between bile acids, lipid metabolism, that is fat digestion, and glucose, which can open up novel pharmacological approaches against insulin resistance. Of course, they want to work with drugs now. You don't need drugs. Work on your digestive system. Work on fat absorption. Use your ultimate enzymes. Use something called pancrease, which is digestive enzymes, which you'll find in your ultimate enzymes. Use your apple cider vinegar with your ultimate enzymes. Focus on the gut is what I'm saying here, people. All right. From the Journal of Stanford Medicine, dietary seaweed used to manipulate gut bacteria in mice. Researchers from the Stanford University School of Medicine, working with laboratory mice, have shown that it's possible to favor the engraftment of one bacterial strain over others. That's when they graft. They put different bacteria in the intestine by manipulating the mice's diet. Well, we know that, but it turns out that when they gave these mice seaweed, they had better or greater population of good bacteria over bad bacteria. Fucoidan is a classic example of a seaweed polysaccharide that is responsible for supporting good bacteria. Fucoidan from your Z radical and fucoid Z products. Fucoidan and Z radical and fucoid Z are so multifunctional, it's hard to even know where to begin when you talk about their benefits. But one of the major benefits is to the digestive system. Z radical is good for digestion. Fucoid Z is good for digestion. Number one, it'll help patch up a leaky gut. We know that the sugars that are found in seaweed, these polysaccharides, are these long complex sugars. They're not sweet sugars, but these complex sugars that are found in your fucoid Z and your Z radical and in seaweed in general stimulate the production of connective tissue. When the connective tissue breaks down, that's when we get leaky gut syndrome. So you can patch up the gut with your fucoid Z and your Z radical. But now we know that you can actually support the health of the good bacteria with your Z radical and your fucoid Z. Seaweed in general. In fact, I have always said that seaweed is arguably the most powerful food a human being can eat. And it's among the most abundant abundant foodstuffs on the planet. All right, we'll do one more and then we'll get to your calls, 844-236-6010. From Loma Linda University, dark chocolate consumption reduces stress and inflammation. Interesting. That's 70% cacao. Cacao is powerful stuff. And when they talk about 70% cacao, they are talking about 30% sugar. So it's not a great medicine, I wouldn't say. It's not overly good to eat a lot of chocolate, but you can still get some health benefits. But the health benefits are not in the sugar, they're not in the fat, they're not in the processing chemicals. They're in the cacao, which is bitter, and it's an incredible source of iron and magnesium and flavonoids. So understandably, it's going to have a beneficial effect on stress and inflammation. So if you're going to eat chocolate, go 70% cacao. It's not anywhere near as sweet. It doesn't have the same amount of sugar. By the way, a lot of chocolate has lecithin in it to help emulsify the chocolate, create a smooth texture to the chocolate. And lecithin has some really interesting health benefits for the bile system. In fact, bile is largely composed of lecithin. This is one of the ways that lecithin supports digestive health. It helps you make bile. And in fact, if you're dealing with gallbladder issues, or you're dealing with sludgy bile issues, or you're dealing with any kind of toxification issues, you're taking prescription drugs, or drinking a lot of alcohol, or smoking cigarettes, using lecithin supplementally might be something that you'd want to think about. Okay, so let's see here. I think we'll hit the phones. I got a couple more, but we'll go to the phones. Danny in Florida, 844-236-6010 is our number, and we do have lines open. I think we're going to get to our commercial, but let's see if we can get Danny real quick. Hang on, Danny. I'm going to try to get my computer to work here. Good morning, Danny. How you doing?
Good morning. I enjoyed the program immensely.
Thank you. I appreciate that. What's going on today?
I want to ask you a question in regards to the function and the purpose and how it relates to cancer, the P53 oncogene.
Oh, P53 oncogene. You're familiar with the concept of epigenetics, right?
Similar, yeah.
Okay, hang on. We got to take a break. We'll talk about oncogenes, P53 oncogene, and we'll talk about epigenetics and cancer. A very, very important subject. Hang on, Danny. We got to take a break, okay? Don't go away, buddy. I'm Pharmacist Ben. You're listening to The Bright Side. Got lines open, 844-236-6010. We'll be back right after this. We're back on The Bright Side. I'm Pharmacist Ben. We're on the air Monday through Friday, 8 to 9 Pacific, 10 to 11 Central Time, and 24/7 on the archive pages at benfuchsarchives.com and brightsideben.com. You could purchase longevity products at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. We've got blog posts, news stories, videos, and all the longevity products, and a Join the Team link that you can click on at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com. or criticalhealthnews.com. You can call 866-735-2470 for more info. If you would like to join the Brightside Ben team for a one-time $25 fee, you can be in business for yourself, earn thank you checks associated with being in business for yourself and helping change the world, and the ultimate win-win business. You make money, you help change people's lives at the most fundamental level there is, which is the level of health. And by changing lives, I'm talking getting off meds, losing weight, lots of weight sometimes, just feeling better. How cool is that, to be in business where you help people feel better? That's what the longevity business is all about. If you're interested, call 866-735-2470 for more info, or click on the Join the Team link at brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, or criticalhealthnews.com. All right, we're talking to Danny in Florida. There, Danny?
Yeah. Hey, it's storming down here, and I'm losing reception. I was on the radio. I can't hardly hear you.
Okay, no worries. No worries. Good to talk to you. Yeah, I'll talk about cancer for a little bit, and we don't have anybody on the line, so we'll spend some time last few minutes of the program here talking about cancer, which is talked about heart disease as the leading killer around the world. Cancer is the second leading killer around the world, and it's very, very misunderstood. Yesterday I mentioned that there's nothing really that causes cancer. We have this idea that there are causes for cancer. There are. Otto Warburg, who was a brilliant Nobel Prize-winning biochemist, in the early part of the 20th century. He said that there were two ways cancer developed. He called them primary causes and secondary causes. All the things, whenever we hear like, cigarette smoke or different preservatives or microwaves and all the different toxins in the environment cause cancer, it's really a misunderstanding of the word cause. Yeah, they're secondary causes of cancer, but they're not the way cells turn cancerous. Cells turn cancerous when they are stressed out beyond their limits, particularly when it comes to oxygen. Cancer cells are cells that have been suffocated, and they don't know how else to get energy, so they turn on a completely different way of processing energy. Ordinarily, energy is produced in two steps. It's produced by the burning of glucose, burning of sugar, and then by the burning of oxygen. The burning of sugar is a very inefficient way. So there's a secondary step, which is a really efficient way of getting energy, and that's to utilize oxygen. The first way is like it's called fermentation. The second way is called oxidation. And the first step of fermentation is a kind of primitive way that cells got energy. Way, way back, billions of years ago, there were cells that figured out a way to get energy this way. They're still around in the form of bacteria and cancer cells, which are the two cells that still use this very primitive way of utilizing energy. It takes a lot of stress for a cell to forego oxidation in favor of fermentation. A lot of stress. And so while secondary causes can be sources of that stress, unless the cell has been suffocated for a long period of time and doesn't know what else to do, a cell is not going to turn cancerous. That tells you two things. Number one, the way you prevent cancer is you make the body strong, especially when it comes to oxygen. Now, it's not just breathing, as important as breathing is, it's also movement. And it's also keeping inflammation down. When the body is inflamed, oxygen, especially the blood, oxygen does not get delivered appropriately. Those are the three ways that you got to oxygenate. Obviously, the first one's breathing. It's the most important. But the second way is moving. And the third way is to reduce your interaction with toxicity. Again, drugs represent toxicity. Anything that causes inflammation is going to deprive cells of oxygen and make cancer more likely. The second thing it tells you is that if you do have cancer, God forbid, your job is to make your body strong again. This is why people will remit. First of all, you'll read sometimes people will remit when they go on a vegan diet, or they'll remit when they do juicing. It's not like the juicing kills the cancer. It's not like the vegan diet kills the cancer. It's like the vegan diet and the juicing reduce the load on the body, and they make the body stronger. That's your goal if you're dealing with cancer, and that's your goal to prevent cancer. And you know what? That should be the goal for dealing with any long-term chronic health challenge. Make the body stronger. Not to medicate. Unless you're so deep down the rabbit hole where you don't have any options and you just got to deal with palliative, that is symptomatic relief. If you're dealing with long-term chronic health challenge, and if you're dealing with cancer, God forbid, your job is to make your body stronger, not cure the disease, not lower your test score. Make the body stronger. Why is this important? Because we can do this ourselves. Making the body stronger is something that only we can do. Doctors can't help us make the body stronger. Medicine is not able to help to make the body stronger. What medicine can do is it can mask symptomology. And when I say medicine, I'm talking about prescription drugs. Surgery is the same way. Now, if you're dealing with some kind of injury or trauma, that's different. But when you're talking about long-term chronic biochemical metabolic issues, which cancer and heart disease and diabetes and Alzheimer's and all the biggies are, your job is to make the body stronger. How do you make the body stronger? Well, first of all, you oxygenate. You oxygenate by breathing. You oxygenate by movement. And you support oxygenation by removing toxicity. And removing toxicity is always a good idea. And when we talk about removing toxicity, we're not only talking about eliminating it or not putting it into the system, but also supporting the way elimination, all the things we've been talking about. You make the body stronger by stabilizing the blood sugar. You don't want highs and lows. The body doesn't like highs and lows. Highs and lows represent a burden, represent load. This is why every study that's ever been done on longevity finds that as you reduce your insulin or as you stabilize your insulin, you live longer. As you restrict your calories, you live longer. And oh, by the way, if you have cancer, that is a great strategy. Calorie restriction. I know that flies in the face of what you hear from doctors. Calories represent work, represent load. Would you rather be digesting your food or fighting cancer? Making sure you're on a nutritional supplement program is not optional. If you want to be maximally healthy, if you want to be strong, if you are dealing, God forbid, with a horrible long-term health challenge or cancer or something that falls into the realm of degenerative or progressive, that just gets worse, a nutritional supplement program is not optional. Now, you can put together a supplement program yourself. You can go on the internet, you can go shop, you can go to do all your research. That's a great idea. But if you don't want to deal with all of that, get on the Healthy Start Pack. Get on the Healthy Brain and Heart Pack. Get on the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. Longevity has made it very, very simple. You get it every month. You know the company that's making it. And it comes as a system where you get all of the basic building blocks in their right proportions. Just the Healthy Start Pack will change your life. It's only 3 products. Nutritional supplementation is not optional, not because nutritional supplementation cures disease, not because you take magnesium for your heart or you take the B complex for your liver or you take zinc for your skin, but because the nutrients will make the body stronger. And when the body is stronger, it is able to do its business more effectively. And if you have cancer, if you have a long-term health challenge, and you make the body stronger, whether or not your diagnosis goes away, you're going to feel better. And that's the goal. The goal isn't to lower your cholesterol. The goal is not to lower your blood pressure. The goal is not to have your diagnosis changed. The goal is to feel strong. The goal is to feel better. The goal is to sleep better. The goal is to have more energy. And all of those goals fall into the realm of lifestyle modification. How cool is that? You feel better. We feel better by taking care of our business at the lifestyle level, not the doctor level. This idea that we can be medicalized back into health is a meme. It's a belief system that has been injected into the culture by forces that do not have human beings' interest in mind. Their corporate interests, their commodity interests, their interest in sales and economics and financials, but they're not human interests. Human interests say quite obviously that you cannot be carved up and get better for it. You cannot be poisoned and be better off for it. But that doesn't matter because all of the things that we need, all the tools that we need are at our disposal from the comfort of our own homes, from the comfort of our own kitchens, living rooms, and bathrooms. All right. That's all the time we have for today on The Bright Side. Thanks for listening, friends. I'm Pharmacist Ben. Please check out our websites, brightsideben.com, pharmacistben.com, and criticalhealthnews.com for the longevity products, and truthtreatments.com for all our Truth Skin Health products. Have yourselves a wonderful, beautiful, awesome, spectacular day. We will talk to y'all later, folks. Bye for now.